So after my last retro gaming video on the NVIDIA Shield, a company called WeCan reached out to me asking if I'd like to review their all new Austar classic arcade games console. And I said, what's so special about it? Well, they said it has a couple of special features. Firstly, it has over 4,000 built-in games, so no need to find ROMs or find games online. Those 4,018 games are actually built in to this unit. On top of that, this also has built-in wireless. Now you can use that wireless connectivity to connect to the game center and then download more games or update games that you already have on your system. And unlike some of the other cheaper Pandora'S boxes, this one has much better specs. It also has built-in games for PSP, for PlayStation, Nintendo 64, Famicom, Super Famicom. We have Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Mega Drive, PC Engine, Dreamcast, FBA, and of course MAME. So lots of systems, lots of games built in, and if you really can't be bothered with setting up emulators or downloading ROMs or doing all of that manual configuration, then maybe an all-in-one device like this may just be the ticket for you. So when you turn it on for the very first time, this is what you'll see. So here we have the all category, and we can see we have 402 pages of games. Now if I just go to the bottom, we can see in total we have 4,018 games. Now of course going through a big list like that would just be a nightmare. Unfortunately on this system, again unlike some of the other cheaper Pandora boxes I've seen, we also have a category section, and we can also search for games as well. So if we go to the top, this now shows you all of the games broken down into their respective consoles or respective systems. And also next to that, we can also see what type of game it is. So here, for example, are the 3D games, which we can tell by this logo here. And this one tells you that it's a fighting game. But if I go down in the list, we can see this one, for example, is a racing game. This is a sports game. This is a spaceship or air combat type game, and so on and so forth. And let's stay on the top. We also have a recents menu, which will show you the last few games that you played. Again, instead of going through a massive list, you can just go back to the games that you're regularly playing. And lastly, we have a search feature. So this is really handy, especially when you are dealing with 4,000 games. So let's say, for example, I want to play Street Fighter. I can just type in S. This then filters through all of the consoles, all of the systems, and gives me or shows me the games matching that particular search string. Okay, we can just see just with those letters, I can now choose any of these games and go in there. So let's say, for example, I want to play something. So I want to play on FBA, just Street Fighter 2. So let's click on that. Okay, I can now press start. And here we are now enjoying this classic game on this All-Star box. Let's see how that performs. I mean, these kind of games, these classic arcade games were designed to be played with the arcade stick. I mean, I'd much rather play these kind of games with a stick versus playing with a controller. But playing with the controller is supported, and I will be showing you that in just a second. All right, it's working fine. Now, in case you haven't noticed, these graphics kind of look smoothed out, and that's actually a setting that you can choose. So when you are playing any game or when you are in the home screen, you can press the special menu toggle, and we can now see some of those settings. So say, for example, you can configure the keys. So if you're not happy with the default layout, you can change that. Coin setting is just set to free play. Now the exit mode is quite important. So when you are inside a game, if you press the start and the coin buttons together, that will allow you to exit back to the main games library. Here we have the exit time. So if you don't press anything, after 3 minutes, it will go back to the home screen. Image optimization is something of personal preference. So if you leave that disabled, and that is the default option, the graphics will be identical to what they were, when these games were originally made. Now, some of you may prefer to have more smoother graphics or slightly sharper graphics, and the way you can do that is by turning that on to HD. But just for a test, let's leave that on to disable. Let's go down. Here, for example, I can go into the game market. Let's go into that. And here, for example, we can see which games are being downloaded the most. We can see them in here. And for example, if I want to install Crazy Taxi American Edition, let's click on that. I can now click on install, and that will then download that from the internet directly onto the SD card in here. Okay, let's back out of that. We can also go to the category section. So if you are looking for a certain type of games, so I'm only interested in PSP games, I can click on that, and that will then show those respective games. Okay, so we've got the image optimization is disabled. Let's go back. And here we can see we've lost some of that smoothness, and we can see more of those pixels. Working fine. I mean, just in the interest of time, I'll only play these games for about 30 seconds or so, just so you can see what the performance is like and see how they handle. So let's say we want to exit this game now, so let's press the start and coin buttons together. I can now press B to exit game. Let's start with some PSP. I mean, of course, if the system can easily emulate PSP and Dreamcast, it's not really going to have any issues doing the smaller consoles like NES or Mega Drive, but we'll test out some N64. Here we are playing some PSP Ridge Racer. Looking good. And the question is, do I actually know what I'm doing? And easy answer to that is no, although I got it perfect. Here we have some PlayStation 1. Absolutely fine. Here we have some N64. Okay, it's fairly smooth. I mean, I can occasionally hear some blips in the sound or a slight distortion in the sound. I mean, N64 is always one of those notoriously difficult consoles to emulate. But other than that, it's performing fine. Unlike my performance. Let's try something else. Alright, so here we are playing this Dreamcast game, and I've just died in the first 10 seconds, alright. Let's try that again. Let's get that power up. It's better. Actually looks really nice. Okay. I mean, to be fair, if you can easily emulate Dreamcast games like this, then you're not going to have any issues emulating, you know, consoles like SNES or Mega Drive or Game Boy or consoles like that. I mean, that's the thing, when you have like 4,000 games to play, which ones are you going to play? That library is just way too big, so when you do find gems like this, you just want to keep on playing them. Which is why it's great that we can actually see the recent played list and, you know, go back to these games that we actually enjoy playing. Let's try something else. I mean, you really can't beat these classic games. I mean, Metal Slug was so popular. I think they had like Metal Slug 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it went up to 5. Then there was X, X2, I think even an X3. It was just such a popular franchise. And with good reason, because it is actually a really fun game. Okay, let's take this out. There you go. All right, 4th time lucky. Let's get that cross in. And let's finish. Oh my god, this team is too hard. There you go. I mean, that is just so satisfying. But it's only round 1, and then as you progress, obviously it gets much harder. But classic games like this, classic arcade games, you really will enjoy them on a device like this. Now, typically with arcade games, you can't really save your position, so every time you want to play, you have to kind of like start from the beginning. But what you can do with this box is, if you press the hotkey, we can see I now get the option to save state. So let me do that now. Press the C button. That's now saved. Some of the second shot. So now, for example, if I quit out of this, let's exit the game. If I go back into it now, and I now want to go back to my previous save spot, I can bring up the hotkey again, go to load state, and we can then carry on from where we were. So that really is a great feature of this retro arcade games console. Last shot. Good shot. Oof, just missed the bunker. Alright, let's back out of this. So wrapping this up, would I recommend the Pandora's Box 3D All-Star Edition? And I would say without a doubt, yes. If you do love your retro gaming, if you can't be bothered setting up your emulators, downloading ROMs from different places and just getting through all of that manual headache, then getting a pre-configured box like this really does make a lot of sense. On top of that, you have the built-in 4,000 plus games. You also have the ability to search and also categorize your games. All of that just gives you a very nice and very easy to use retro gaming experience. Now, in terms of emulation, I would say on the whole, pretty much all of the games on all of the systems worked really well. There was a couple of titles on N64 and also Dreamcast that were a little bit glitchy, but generally and by and large, all of the games worked really well. And I would say without a doubt, this is the best retro gaming console that I've ever reviewed on my channel. So that's all for this video, guys. Many thanks for watching. I will leave a link in the video description if you guys want to check this box out. Do leave me a comment below, let me know what you think, and I'll hopefully catch up with you guys real soon. Thanks.